this up and let's start off as a golden rule. Like, let's get into that.
Yeah, golden rule, you get what you put out, you reap what you sow. No matter what you do, every single day, it's going to build into something and it's going to get you. So if you want good things, do good things. And they need to be genuinely good things. That doesn't mean always good things are going to happen to you in return. So when the bad things happen to you while you're doing good things, don't react badly because your actions are building your goal, not anybody else's goal.
Yeah.
So even you're doing good, you're doing good. A bad thing happens to you, you react poorly. Well, that one negative review again.
Oh, we lost you.
Can you hear me again?
Barely.
I might be low on battery on these
Oh, oh,
EMF causing things.
oh, there you go.
You can hear me now?
Yeah.
Where'd you lose me?
I don't know. You kind of got quiet and then it cut out, or it cut out and then you came back kind of quiet. It was
The golden rule about being genuine.
yeah, yeah.
You know, so sometimes you ask people for help and they give you everything that they talk about and they read and they theorize, but they're too afraid to do themselves. So they use you as an experiment
Yeah.
to further their agenda. And that's most things.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's because you're caught up in making yourself look good outside of yourself.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? You're not even thinking for yourself. You're thinking for the image or whatever effigy you've made for yourself,
Yeah.
the God under which you're subservient to.
The idolatry.
Yeah, the idolatry of you is always so. If your selfishness is going to that, then that's generally bad, and you're going to keep getting more of that. But if your selfishness is more of a, keep in mind, not negative aspect of it, because there's always a positive aspect, fake it till you make it versus practice makes perfect, right?
Hmm.
Same thing.
Yeah.
So instead of calling it that word, let's just forget that word even exists. What's another good word for that? It's
Word
important.
word for what?
Uh, I said forget that word. I already forgot
Yeah, that's exactly. It worked really
it.
rather well.
Hey, thanks everybody for joining in on that spell and making that happen.
Oh, highly effective on that one.
It's not subservient. I want to say it started with an S. What were we talking about? You know, let's continue on that.
Onwards. Golden rule as a precept of you get what you put out there, and your intentions behind what you put out there are a big part of that.
So every interaction you have with these fictions outside of you, right, needs to be constructed with that in mind.
Yeah.
So there's a billion ways. There's no matter how you look at it, there's always a path out. If you make the path out your goal, then just build that goal and don't let outsiders influence your goal. Don't miss like that's the best thing. Don't react. Like if your thoughts are good and bad things happen, you let those bad things happen and fill your thoughts with bad things, you're tearing down your goal of getting out. The more you solidify what you're typing with good intent to suit your agenda and the other human beings you're dealing with in their vocation, right? That's the best way. The guy's job, they hired him. Go knock on the door, right? You put a sign out, solicitation of business. If you knock on my door to solicit me business, it costs you the exact amount you're trying to claim, right? That's one way. Another way is you could file them papers in the mail. There's literally a million ways you could deal with that using the golden rule.
Yeah.
You get what you put out. They're coming at you, so they're putting out first,
Yeah.
right? Now, what do? Do you jump in it and start dealing with them? Do you ignore it? Because by ignoring it, in the way things work in today's society, you are agreeing. So we can't ignore it. Never ignoring your problems doesn't fix it,
No,
right?
no, it does
And
not.
now think about that. You're putting out ignoring it. You are literally putting out ignorance. If you plant ignorant seeds, you're going to get ignorance in the long run, right?
Yes,
Okay,
Okay,
so
you can't,
can I jump in really quick? So
please.
for sure.
my question is then I know that ignoring it, I mean it's still going to be there. All right? So that's not what we want to do, but at the same time, when we acknowledge it, if we don't acknowledge it in like a correct manner, then we're basically just jumping into their court, right? And my
Even
thing,
acknowledging it,
okay,
you want to rebut it. Let's change
rebut.
that word.
Okay,
We're going to use rebut because by
rebut.
rebutting it, I'm saying that isn't true. You can
R-
say that all you want, and I'm not going to acknowledge it because it isn't true. Here's a
All right,
rebuttal.
you're okay. Yes, I like that a lot better.
Yeah,
But
it's
now my
easy to say a thing is true. It is very much a different thing to show that a
true.
thing is true.
Okay,
But don't
okay,
betray yourself by reacting. That's
you're
exactly what I'm
right.
talking about.
So what do
You
you
know,
do in the situation that, I get this paperwork from them that's like you have 10 day summons, and I'm obviously I'm very clearly past the 10 days. But from December 27th, I believe. But at the same time I looked at it and that's where I was like, what? I don't even know what this gas company is. Like I really, really don't. And then not only that, it's dated back in March. So why am I just getting this now?
do you have an envelope it came in, or he handed it to you in
He
person?
handed it to me. I pulled in my driveway and he had ran. I seen him when I was pulling in my driveway run around the back of my house. And I was at first, for just 1 second, I was kind of I was weirded out because I'm like, who is what are they doing? And then it only took me 1 second to be like, oh, what do you want? Like, I know what you're doing. I can tell that behavior. And he literally came up and met me while I was still in my car. Are you Cassie Hess? Dates it. And I was like, can you tell me what this is about? You need to contact these people. Okay. And he let like
He dated it. He signed it, right? What's his date?
his date
Not the
was
date of the document.
December 27th.
That's what he wrote, right?
Yeah. But printed
And
on the front of it is dated this is from the attorney's office, is dated this 11th day of March 2025.
all right, now is it telling you to go to court or just to contact these debt collectors?
Uh Call the clerk of the court. Um let me see. I don't know. They're like it's saying,
Okay, so what I'm gathering, I think I know what's going on here. What it is it is a debt collector. Well, like I said, there's a million different ways you go about this. Some people
hey,
try to do it in a way that they send you a letter, and they're going to try and say, "We sent you a letter, and we're de facto in this." They're trying to jump the gun and just go through a magistrate.
all
Now, the
right.
best thing that you can do now, because you got to act, you can't ignore it, right?
Right.
Because they're probably going to try and start garnishing things and stuff like that. And that's just because that's why they're trying to go to a court. They don't feel that they can collect their interest or that credit's going to mean anything that they want to come and collect. So the best thing to do would be to contact the court clerk, even if it's late. Be like, "Whoa, I just got this thing, you know, and I'm
Right.
looking at it here. It says contact you. I have no idea who these debt collectors are. They literally have even their blank paper has that. Now you want to give them a paper, or you can file a paper, type your own paper that says, "Hey, I have no knowledge of this. No debt exists. No debt exists. Where's proof of injury? Just claim these things." and file with the court. I've never received any of this. Can we please provide this before any decision's made? This is news to me. You get what
Right.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you got to
Okay.
inform them that without their self-help forms.
Mhm.
Okay.
Their
Okay.
self-help forms make you present your case to them as a conglomerate, a general person, the average Joe. Frank and Sally want to file the paperwork.
Mhm.
There's a million Franks and a million
Um,
Sallys,
okay.
right? So
Right.
we want to be able to get a court case number from the clerk, and then you start. Now, like I said, we're coming to help. So literally, what I would do if they were going to a judgment is I would literally get a number for the case. I would then start typing a paper up, and it would be basically a notice of, hey, this is all news to me. Please provide me proof of debt in at least one of these three forms. And I ask for a signed contract between me and them. Where's the claim of debt? Where is your proof that you have injury or claim of debt? When you come at me with a court case, that's a serious crime and waste of time if you're found that you're wasting my time. I don't
Right.
know any you know what I'm saying? I would just word
Right.
something out and put it on the court's record for that case. Because then no matter what, and then I'd go to court, because no matter what, when I go there, they have no choice but to go with what I've said and say, hey, what the hell is this debt? That's my
Right.
piss. If you ignore it, then you've agreed.
Okay.
Now, the reason I say that's acting versus reacting is because ignoring it would be reacting, right?
Okay.
Trying to file, just calling the clerk would be reacting. They said, hey, call the clerk. So if you just call the clerk, if you don't know what you're asking the clerk, did they ever tell you
Right.
that? No, they didn't. So if
Right.
you get caught up in the idea of it, you got to break down the fundamentals. What is going on? A third party is trying to force me into debt using the courts, right?
Okay. Right.
I don't know about this debt. Do you know about this debt?
Mm-mm.
Then you literally write, this is who I am on a piece of paper. Don't identify yourself through their means. I'm the living flesh and blood soul who was attacked by some guy and handed some papers for a debt for something I don't know anything about.
Right.
Prove that I'm even somebody who's bought of this. You're injuring me, harassing me. Now I got to come here under penalty of being forced upon debt, right? And now
Right.
they know. Now they know. So when you go to court, they've been pre-warned.
Okay.
So you just continue to claim, and now it's on paper, and now it's out of your mouth. What the hell is his debt? Because you're there, they're there. You're going to argue this. What debt? Oh well, blah 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 blah. Such a debt.
Right.
Well, when did this come from? Where's the contract between me and them? Don't ever agree. Don't ever accept. Remember, we were talking about that word. Rebut everything.
Rebut. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. So and do it in question form. They're going to be like, oh, here's this. Here's a prime example. Okay.
Okay.
One time I was in trouble, right? And while I was in trouble, they wanted to do a urinary analysis, right?
Okay.
So the officer had me piss in a cup, and he swears, yeah, I watched him piss in the cup. And I even told the court, yeah, I pissed in the cup. But when I went to court and we were bringing that evidence up, right?
Right.
They brought me a picture of they brought me a piece of paper, and on that piece of
Oh,
paper was a picture of a
picture
cup
of
of pee.
right.
What the hell is that? So I said in court, what is this? We're trying to admit the cup of piss that I peed into, and I can testify I peed into it, and that officer can testify I peed into it. We're trying to admit this piss, but you have not provided such piss. What you have provided me is a piece of paper with a picture of piss on it with a name similar to mine. What the fuck is this for evidence? And they had to throw that evidence away because now you got to prove that I'm that guy.
Right.
I never was that guy. You just try to force me into being that actor. You literally are holding a whole thing and you're using fear to force me into this role.
Right.
Remember, they get what they put out.
Ugh.
But if you start typing paperwork, just react in kind, or pardon me, act in kind. If somebody was coming at me with a deal that I didn't like, well, then my terms of doing a deal with them, they're not going to like. But it's still business. I'm not going to overstep the business and start bringing hostilities into it. You want to take 3 days of my life? Well, I didn't want 3 days of my life taken from this. I think it's worth 10 days of life. You're going to reimburse me 10 days of life on this. Set your terms. And they're going to be like, we don't want to do that. Well, then what kind of agreement can we come to that's negotiable for both of us? If it's you fuck off and leave me alone, and then I do my own business and you do your own business, we don't have any terms, that sounds like good business to me. That's what I'm saying. For your instance, I mean, if they're not trying to serve you papers anymore, it's kind of hard, but just put a sign up anyway.
Right.
It's good for anybody. Put a sign up that says, hey, if you knock on this door and you try to propose anything to me that has to do with currency, a debt exchange, if you try to negotiate any kind of business or mercantile effect, I don't care what it is. If you're here for matters of merchanting,
Transactionalization.
exactly.
Transactionalization.
If you knock on this door with the intent of marketing, transactions, business, any of the such, it costs this much per interaction plus so much per minute, prorated. And put a camera that points right down to that sign that has the date and time. Now, the camera doesn't have to always go, but just make it so it's like a timer. Someone knocks on it. There you go. Hey, we got them. There you go. This is the date and time. You agreed to that debt.
Right.
It's a good practice for anybody because then they're notified. So I'm trying to say, no matter what it is, there's tools to the court. No matter what court case you're having.
So what you're saying is weaponize the surveillance technology. Take the ring cams and turn them into billable hours, billable minutes.
That's what they do with a schedule of billing, except it's drawn off a bond using your own name.
Right.
So, all right, let's see. How do I open
Okay.
this back up? There we go.
The money trap.
It's so since I like to, I don't mind helping people with stuff. It's really hard to help people with paperwork over a medium like this.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I was just like that's why the other day I was just like, I'm gonna just come up. We need to sit down and we need to do it.
I agree. So Saturday it is,
Yeah.
and there's 1 second. I'm getting a bunch of texts. All right. Anyway, okay. Hopefully the text will stop.
Mhm.
Yeah, Saturday.
Yeah.
It's just one of the things you gotta convey what you want to get out of it. You know what I'm saying? What you want to get out of it is everybody's done. All right, never mind. Still, I'm getting text. Everybody's done with our interaction. We don't see each other again. Good riddance. You correct record. Bye. Right? That's what you want.
Yeah.
Now, when we start accusing them of the things we know they're doing, not because they consciously want to do it, but because that's what the job is, and that's what people project on them when they go into court and have to be ruled by fear. They think to that guy, "Fuck you." Right? We maybe don't want to accuse them of the treason they know they're committing. That's something that maybe all the people have to get together. You know, maybe in all reality, the only solution is everybody getting together and holding our own public court in the middle of the street. I mean, yeah, they would hog tie you, right?
Yeah.
So if we hog tie them as a group, as the public, that's the way it works. Hog tie them, we take them to the lamppost, we hold the trial right then and there, speedy trial right now. What do you have to say? Literally, give them a fair chance because they need a fair chance. But what's the first things they're going to say? Oh, I'm sorry, or whatever the hell it is. You know what I'm saying? Let that be the thing because they know they're guilty. They will judge themselves right then and there. They'll already know that everything. Why would there be a mob of people after you? If you didn't steal the courts from them, we'll go to court so we can steal your money and not have to pay our money. That's what court is about. Court is a big giant cash box.
Yeah.
You know, this case that you have with people knocking on your door and they're telling you to contact the clerk there, right? Why would the court be doing that if it wasn't for a
It was
monetary fee
all
paid
for
in
money.
advance?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure. And how are they going to make money on you when you weren't even engaged in business?
right.
Through the business.
Well, it's really funny because I like when I read into it, it's telling me that this is on or about with this Enbridge gas, natural gas something that
Yeah,
I'm like, I have no
that's a
idea.
new name
Oh, that's a new
for
name they bought
Questar.
out what for
Questar,
Questar or
whatever the fuck. Yeah, whatever the fuck they were. Yeah.
okay, so they must have done that this last year because it's really funny to me that they say on or before July 2nd of 2024. Well, guess what? I have had nothing to do with any natural gas, well, for a couple of years.
Now check it
So,
out. The best way you can get out of this, what it
yeah,
is it's the old gas for any bit.
yep,
If you own Rocky Mountain Power, that's the same thing. But what it is a new name bought it out, and
yep.
because a new name owns the corporation, they have no claim to that old debt, and that's the best way for you to fight it. What debt are they talking about? So when you go to court, what debt are you
Because
talking
I've
about? And
never
they're going
done
to
any
pull up some
business with
old bill.
Enbridge.
Exactly. So they're going to pull up some old bill and you'll be like, who the fuck is that? We bought them out. Well, do you have a contract between me and them that says that if you buy me out, that you can assume my debt, even if there was a debt?
Present it.
Literally.
Yeah, no, like even if I mean, and there may be one, but the chances are that, of them having it or being able
Well,
to provide it are very
where's my
slim.
signature saying that
Yeah.
I like
Now,
agreed
they
to
may
these
provide a
terms?
document. They may provide a document with your signature or your phone authorization or something like that. Okay. Now, I
Okay.
want you to remember this. They
Okay.
will never give you the original. That was then. This is now. And then you got to rebut it. You say, what the hell are you doing digitally representing my voice or my signature, even on a
Yes.
document? What's the bank going to do? They're going to literally give you a printout, a photocopy of your signature. Well,
Right.
2012, you signed this. Well, that isn't my thing. And if you're trying to use a digital representation of my signature without my consent to authorize this debt, no, that's
That's
null and void.
fraud.
That is fraud. Now, if you don't call them out
And,
on it, it's good
and
to
if you
go.
and if you've done your UCC one, they've replicated your signature without authorization, which presents them into fine territory.
Well,
Oh.
they're always trying to steal your signature to bank. That's how they get paid. So a lot of banks, I've noticed some banks you go to cashier check, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you sign the check, you give them the check, and then what do they ask you to do before they give you money? They ask you to sign some little digital pad, right? You ever seen that?
Right. Yes.
What is that for? I've even asked,
Oh,
them,
so
what is
that
that
it
for?
stores it.
No,
Uh, oh
they're
wait.
taking your check that you've signed. They're then using that to give you a loan based on that check.
Okay, that
When
is why you are so correct. That is why today at the bank, all right, I go in to make my car payment. And this was the funniest, weirdest thing, and it really it caught my attention so fast today. And I was thinking about it, but you just sparked that train of thought. So I go in to make my car payment, and yes, like I was pretty late, whatever. I just laughed. I was like, well, like you'll get the next one when you get it. And
at least
he
you're
says,
getting it, right? You're
yeah,
getting it.
he says, no worries. How will you be paying for this today? I'm like, with this card. So he goes and he runs the card. Well, first I have to give them my bank card that logs me into my account at America's First Credit Union. Which, speaking of this credit union, they've already done some, like, there's some fucked up shit with them, anyways, from the past. But then he brings me back this receipt and he says, will you sign here for your cash advance?
Yeah,
I was
they're trying to
like,
make money on the fact you made
okay,
money
well, yeah, but I
everywhere
just
you
kind of
go.
sat there and I was like, my cash advance, a cash advance from my, like, I've never, like, just since when was it? You mean like a payment for my debit card. I've just never heard it as a cash advance. Speaking of this bank, though, something that they did a while
They're
back that
trying.
I
Just check it out, though. Did you say
okay
yes to that? You said no, right?
to the
You
signature.
told them hell no.
No, I
No, did you sign
didn't.
that thing?
I did.
Because they might try to use that card so that. So what they're trying to do is when money goes into that account, they're going to take it as soon as it goes into that account. Stop using that account. Stop using that account.
For my car payment. Just
Well, what they did when they did in advance is he's paying the debt in advance off your card to go into debt with your bank, or setting an outstanding draw so that as soon as they'll either check so much they'll fish for it, right? When there's
right.
money in the account to draw, or as soon as you put money in the account to draw, it'll automatically go to them for whatever you're delinquent.
Interesting.
So what they've done is they've tried to de facto you into giving them a card number that they can always hold you liable for on.
Well, I'll
Stop
watch that
using
in the
that account.
future. Okay,
Stop using that account. Yeah, for sure.
I will watch that because I've always done that with them, and they've never attempted to
Say
with
bullshit like that.
huh?
Never attempt to say bullshit like that, right?
Well, they've never taken I've never had them try to take money out of my account, even when I've been late. So,
Gotcha.
but is what they did do, Elijah, is I went in there, I took my trust document, I created my trust account, and I had my trust, like the card, the card to my trust account. All my paperwork was done. I had this account for like, I can't even remember if it was 1 week or 2 weeks. And I had my witnesses in there with me, notarized everything. And 1 to 2 weeks later, they call me and they say, we have to we're closing this account because our security team just
They closed
flagged
it.
this as a
Wow.
an unsafe account that we don't offer here. But here's the other thing is they asked for all my trust documents, and I will admit, I was new to all of this. So number one, they breached the trust law by asking and
Yep.
taking copies of all of that. Then they opened my account and then they closed it. But here's the real kicker that I don't know all the details about this one. But the person that set up my account at this branch, he doesn't work there anymore.
Yeah.
Now, there's nobody more corrupt than a banker.
Right.
Money is the worst thing for existence. Can we all agree?
Yeah.
I'm not saying commerce is the worst thing. I can commerce all day long. You know,
Yeah.
I can wander with you on the tour for whatever commerce I get. I can make you a horseshoe. I can, whatever it is. We can have exchange, but
Right.
this
This paper.
unified paper, money, digital, credit, number, numeric value, whatever it is, when we're dealing with something that is, I don't care if it's chunks of gold, because it doesn't have to be chunks of gold, it's wheat, whatever it is, let's get rid of a unified.
It's
So anyone who
transactionalization.
is, yeah, to once again, that's why we charge for transactionalization. If you want to force me into business, this is my cost. Remember, that works with people posing as your public servants who constitutionally
Right.
their job is not to protect or serve you. Okay, we're talking about police. Their
The
job is not.
enforcers.
That's there. Yeah, exactly. They can see you getting stabbed in the subway, but it's not their job to come and stop it from happening. They're not going to put their
Yeah.
life on the line. Their job is not to protect and serve. So when they approach you, they are trying to force you into business. They're trying to get you to
Right.
agree through fear, no matter how
Right.
you look at it. Okay.
Okay.
Any mercantile, you always need to say, anytime I'm being forced into business, they ask you your
Right.
name, right? That's the first thing they do. They ask you your name, right? Well, what's a
Exactly.
name? A name
Just
is the
your
mark of the beast. It's the way that we call and recognize you. That's a sheep. Well, the sheep has a definition. We've defined the sheep. Sheep is its name.
Yeah.
How does God talk to you? How does Creator talk to you? Does he say, "Oh, Fred
No,
number 175,856,
no,
my
because do you want to
son"?
know what? I will jump in and I will say something, and I honestly hope that like the world hears this, but I know for a fact that when I was pregnant with my son, there was like this omnipresent voice that just like literally filled the room, and he told me it was male, told me this is your son. He didn't say
Son.
this is Canyon. This is your Canyon. He
Exactly.
says this is your
Exactly.
son.
Hey, what do you want? So, say we go up there, there's a God. Do you think I want him to call me whatever they've been calling me my whole life?
Elijah
Or do you think I want him to
one
say,
like
"Welcome, son"?
right. Or welcome
Now,
daughter. Or
think about
welcome
this with your
even
kids.
just
Think
child.
about this
Like
with your kids, though. Think about your interaction with your kids now in this aspect. What do you call them? What do they want to be? Do they want to be son, or do they want, when you're in trouble, what do?
they're my
You
kiddos, unless you're right,
When
unless
I
it's
was a
being
kid,
trouble and it's like full name, Lala, and then when there's three of them, you mix up their names and they just look at you like you're crazy because like you don't even remember, you can't get our names right. Well,
it's
no.
because they're not the names. They're not the names. They're your children.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, that's what the court's doing to you. They're trying to call a name in. Well, I'm
Right.
not a name. Prove that I'm a name. Prove that I signed anywhere that I'm a name.
Right.
Well, here's a booking image of you. Yeah, that's a picture of me that you took and you attached to that file.
Okay.
Seriously.
You're very true.
You're not
Now,
wrong.
here's the thing though. They they do everything they can. Now, it is scary as hell to go up against these people who rule by fear and be like,
Right.
here's the logistics of it. Here is the math of it. Here is the physics of it. So now this might be harsh. Here is something I'm explaining by physics. The
Okay.
physics of the nature of things. Okay. If somebody is fucking stupid, okay, I had to say it that way. But they're not fucking stupid, they're just stupid, right? They're stupid. I know that person's incompetent. They can't be fixed, they're stupid. And then they have a spouse. The physics of it is because that spouse is stupid, no matter how, no, because the one person's stupid, no matter how intelligent the spouse is, they're fucking
They're
stupid.
stupid. Okay.
No, no, they're not stupid. They're fucking stupid.
Fucking stupid.
Physically. That's so if they're married to stupid, they are fucking stupid. That's the physics of it. All right. I don't care how intelligent you are. You're married to that. And people got to realize this in unions. Act outside of your spouse's company the way you want it to reflect on your spouse,
All right.
right?
Right.
Your your image out there, it's like when you're at a company. You're wearing our shirt. So don't go out there and act like you're wearing that guy's shirt because those guys are dumb. Let people see you act good wearing our shirt. And now
Right.
in court, it's not a shirt. It's pants, right? Don't hire a
Okay.
lawyer who isn't going to wear the pants the way you would wear the pants with the license, right? Because he wants to
Right.
wear the pants. He's like, "Fuck you! I ain't going to say that. It's my license." Well, then you don't have my interest at stake. You're going to try and say that I'm
Right.
that guy whose picture. You're going to try and say I'm the name that's associated to a picture of me.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it does.
It's so hard to tell the court that's not me when you hire this guy who says this is them.
Hey. All right. I'm gonna ask about this other situation that just arose. This one's kind of, it's a little bit funny. It's weird. I did call the courthouse because I was like, what is going on and why am I not a welcome person in the state of Idaho exactly? Does this have to do with money? Like fines that were not paid? Just I want to get this resolved. I don't want to not go to Idaho.
Then I
anymore.
asked,
Yes?
what the hell is a fine?
A
I didn't have
fine?
anything of value. I didn't have anything of value, and I didn't get anything of value from anyone to owe them something of value. What the fuck is a fine? What's a debt? What is this? What is this made up fake
What?
bullshit that they keep presenting to you?
Hey,
It's
well, I'm
made up
sure
and
you're gonna
bullshit,
tell
right?
me. It's made up and it's bullshit.
Is it not?
Pretty much. I mean, yes. Like it.
Then tell them that. Be like, why are you bringing me made up bullshit? If you continue doing it, I'll view it as harassment unless you
Well,
can
guess
prove that
what?
it's real.
They're trying to say they brought up this case that happened, something that happened in 2016, which it kind of made me laugh. Like I was like, oh my goodness, with life just going on the way life went on, I forgot about this whole situation. Honestly, like, but so then I asked again, like, is this a fine? Like, what is this? Nope, you're held in contempt of court for not for missing a hearing. And I said, what? Back in 2016, I said, when did you guys issue a warrant then? In 2023.
23.
Yeah. So they're claiming that they held me in contempt of court. This gets good, you guys. They're claiming they held me in contempt of court for missing a court date in 2016. Yet in 2021, wait, 21? Yes, no. In 2020, I got a DUI and I was put on probation, and there was nothing ever brought up about this missed court hearing. And so I'm off probation. That's all ended. That case is closed. All great things. And then the next thing I know is they're telling me that they issued me a warrant in 2023 for missing a court date that they never mentioned any time that I was on probation for like that whole year or however long it was from 2016. And it has nothing to do with fines or anything like that. So I started laughing at this clerk and I said, well, I'm just going to tell you one thing. If you're going to try to tell me that I have to show up in person so that you can arrest me over this matter, you might as well not call me back because I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. That's fair.
Like, she said, well, this isn't a matter that you can just pay a fine for. This is a contempt. I said, okay, well, I'm just telling you, I will not come to Idaho so you can arrest me to deal with this matter. And that's that.
Keep it that way. That's
Yeah.
rebutting. You just rebutted it. You know how
So,
many times you go and check it out with the way they set up their bonds? What happens if
yeah.
you say no? What if the only thing you ever said in court is no? What if every time you deny them forever,
I don't
they'll have to
know.
keep trying to get you to agree? That's what
Because
court's
they
all about.
won't get that bond until I agree.
Exactly. That is the truth of it. And they will not incarcerate you and hold you as collateral for the payout of that bond under that name if you don't agree. That's why they give you a bill of
That's why they
receipt.
want you to try to have a plea agreement so that then they can
Exactly.
cash out that bond because you've agreed. Oh,
Yes,
Check it out. Are you guilty or not guilty?
I am innocent.
There you go. And as
exactly.
long as you continue to say that, and don't say it that way though, because they're going to be assholes and they can hold you in contempt. Say, can I not claim innocence? Because
Okay.
I am. Can I not tell you the truth? Well, what's the truth? I'm innocent. That way they can't hold you in
Okay.
contempt because they asked you. You get what I'm saying? You're following
Right.
their order.
Okay. 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 Okay.
It's all word
Um,
games.
all
And it's
right.
not just word games, it's word games on
Word
top of
play.
fear tactics within the
Uh,
fucking visual salad of I'm here on a tier higher than you with a robe. Have some Chronos on this. I'm doing this for Chronos. I'm doing this for gods who made humans to be slaves so that the gods can have rest. Like, check it out. They've now
right.
started to find studies that show that agriculture didn't start for food for humans. It started for beer. Now, you don't give your gods beer in bread so that they don't cause calamity because they're going to cause destruction by nature. You do it to preoccupy them so they don't have nothing to do so they don't cause destruction. You get what I'm saying? It's not like God will offend
Right.
me if I don't give him the beer. It's I'm going to give God the beer so he doesn't have time to think about anything that could harm me.
Right.
That's humans for you.
Well, the war of the spiritual realm is the war for attention.
Because the system has worked so good that the gods had they left because they're like it'll do itself. So now we create these own fictionals that, like, keep in mind, idolatry is this attention you're talking about, right?
Yes.
It's always important. These are good words, you know. I don't care if I read them somewhere; they're good words. But it was a meme, by the way, and it says, "Start living life the way it makes you feel, rather than the way it makes others see it." You know, that's the wrong way to say it. It was I don't even remember how to say it, but that was the intent. You know, start
Right.
living life for the way it feels rather than the way others see it.
Yeah.
Or rather than, yeah, rather than the way it looks.
How many people who live in homes right next to other people in homes who have like this fictional thing that they got to do, like even the 1400s, okay? We all go and prostrate so many hours a day, especially on Sundays. What do we do in our time when we're not prostrating? We look through our blinds to the house literally right next to us to make sure they're being good in the eyes of God, right?
Yeah.
Our job when we're not prostrating is making sure that other people aren't bad, not to make sure we're not bad. Hate to say it, that's the LDS right now. Well, never mind, never mind. I don't know none of this. I haven't known none of this for like 25 years when they tried to force me into this when I began. So maybe I'm full of it. You know, I'll help any missionary quit that wants to quit. So, you know, ask me, I'll help you quit. Yeah, but when I was a kid, what would they do? They'd look out their blinds and look at you and be like, blah, 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 you're bad for such and such a reason. And then they tell their kids, don't go over there or hang out with them because they're bad and bad for such and such a reason, which it's a neighborhood thing. What do people do? They hang out. I don't care if your parents said don't. Everybody associates. You're just the bad guy, right?
Oh yeah.
Right.
I'm very familiar with that paradigm.
Think that led to fights? Yeah. At least I always won. You know why I always won? Because my cause was righteous. You gonna pick on my brother? We're fighting.
Yeah.
Good way to be. Fighting. Oh wait, I'm sorry. My Irish is coming out. It's called Ireland because it's angry man. That was the queen that did that to us.
Well, it's the angry land because of the things that were done to them. I think it would
Well,
be
yeah, wouldn't you be? Wouldn't you be?
well, wouldn't it be more rightly called indignant land?
And also, wouldn't it be more right to say, aren't you? You don't think these things are happening to us on the daily thing? You know, wake up, go to school, go to homeroom for 15 minutes, go and do all this other bullshit. How many years ago was that? Well, it doesn't matter because that's how we're going to start the foundation. That is the foundation of our indoctrination. Okay?
Mm.
What you do on Sunday, that's personal, but it better be indoctrination. Your family gets to decide that. We got to have family values and we got to have social values. But it better not be anything you choose for yourself.
You better believe it.
You know I do. I have faith that my belief isn't just a lie, it has a couple other letters with it. I hope that I bought a vowel for $500. It was a B and an E. I already had an E, but and a V. Everything else is a lie. You know what I'm talking about? So I'm saying it's all in how you. It's the looking glass. So whatever you want to propose, if you mentally maintain that what you put out is what you receive when you're negotiating with these terrorists, right? Even if they are a terrorist, the worst punishment that should have been able to exist is you're banished from the community. That's cast the debt. We don't want you around here. We all agreed in the village, all of us. It wasn't my decision. If one person in the village didn't agree, then we still have to give you a chance until you break his trust too. We know it's inevitable, but we're giving you a chance. Once he agrees, you're gone. You've been cast to death. We're not going to take your life because that's not something that I need to be part of. I really don't need to be part of that. But you're not welcome here, right? That should have been the worst that it was. But how do we need to colonize? We need to get out there into space and spread this cancer so we can put a place for the cancer, right? Right? Or that doesn't work. That just makes it worse, huh? Enabling others makes problems a lot worse.
That makes them bigger. I don't know. I don't know about worse.
Exacerbates.
Yeah.
Now, the biggest problem with all of it is you have to believe that your way of not being bent over by them against your will work. Now, even though we know everything's a freaking lie when you use the word believe, you know, if you don't believe it's possible, that's the way to use belief. Not if you believe it's possible. If you don't believe it's possible, or if you believe it isn't possible, maybe that's the way. It's a tricky word,
That's a good one.
right? Like even faith, the word faith, you know, there was a good old episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia where they're holding court in house in the pub, of course, they're holding court. And somebody starts questioning evolution. And he's like, well, have you looked at these books and everything like that? You're reading what this book says, and you're going on faith that it's true. And now you sound like a dingbat because you say evolution didn't happen. And then the guy asks him, he's like, well, what makes you so sure that evolution did happen? He's like, well, these books have the science and the facts and the mathematical equations. And he's like, well, have you done those mathematical equations? Or are you just operating in faith that the mathematical equations they did make it true? Right. And
Yeah.
it was like, holy shit, now I gotta move my guy from the fence because I can't say that evolution is real now because I haven't done the math.
No.
Have you done the math?
Nope.
I mean, all these videos we see about all these people, once again, we're getting on this. I'm somebody who's trying to convince you to file paperwork in a certain order as an experiment. I'm going to start a group and use you as the experiment to see what works and what doesn't work.
100%.
Right? And when I find out what does work, what happens? Everything disbands and no more information is there to be had. This experiment's over. I succeeded. That's a lot of what happens.
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
That's why documentation is important.
Well, documentation can be erased. I mean, they
Yes.
don't call us Ireland for nothing. I'm not even in Ireland, and that's fucked up. I've had conversation with some people though that think that the understanding of the language. Sometimes I had an Irish guy once say, "You're more Irish than me." What the fuck? And he was in Ireland. It was over the internet. It was just because they don't learn their language. They are forced to learn their language. They are forced to learn Gaelic in a class, and then they speak English because their language is stolen. Now, the forced language that they're learning in the class. How many times did you learn a language you were forced to learn?
Uh, just English.
And did you learn it, or did you learn the rendition they want you to interpret it as?
I learned it.
Well, I think what these groups are about is about unlearning. You know what I'm saying? The proper use of the words. The use of the words is how they condemn us. You can't even think outside of these words, right? If you learned it, do you understand it?
Unfortunately.
That's messed up. I don't understand it. I comprehend it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't stand under it. Fuck that dirty language. You've heard me say it all the time. English is gross. English sucks. You know, I try to learn as many other languages as I can. It's the context in which way you would use another language. So, say you learn another language. Which way do you compile the spell of those words to have the meaning you wanted to have? You get what I'm saying? Because there's fractured English, there's
Well,
fractured other languages.
that'd be a curious angle to approach. Utilizing other languages in their comprehension of certain concepts in ways that do not correlate with the words as they're extrapolated in English.
The difference between nothing makes sense and nothing makes sense, or helping your Uncle Jack off his horse and helping your Uncle Jack off his horse.
Exactly. And on that funny note, guys, I gotta say good night. But that was a good last note.
All right, good night, Cassie.
Okay,
You have
I'll
a
catch
good
up with
one.
you guys soon, all right?
All right, we'll see you
Okay,
this
good
weekend.
night. Bye bye.
Bye.
Love you lots.
Love you too. Bye. Indubitably.
Yeah, I answer you. For sure, though, we'll have to meet up. I might escape as well. Work is a pain. The continued drags of life.